It's raining outside. Hi you guys, so it's raining like you saw, and it's been raining a lot here in Augusta, Georgia. It's becoming the norm, I'm afraid, and it makes you just want to read a book, which I typically do anyways. So typically I would go to Starbucks and read a book. I would sit here at home, drink a glass of wine and read a book, or I would binge watch Netflix. But I didn't feel like doing any of that today. I thought, why not just film a YouTube video? It's time for another one, so why not? Hence the reason why I have my studio lights on and everything. This is a studio setup type of thing that my mom bought me when I first moved here to Augusta, and I love it. It's been like this, and it was the perfect spot in my apartment because you can see the lights above here. So yeah, if you guys want an apartment tour, let me know. I don't think my apartment is actually ready for that, but again, if you want one, let me know. So since everything's already set up, let's go ahead and get right to it. So there are people who know me, and there are people who know me from either they just know me because they grew up with me, or they're from my hometown, or I met them at some point in my life and they follow me on social media, or because, you know, I am also a reporter and a weekend news anchor. So there may be a variety of reasons why someone may know me, but hopefully there are people who are watching this who do not know me, and therefore I was like, I want to be able to be kind of open, and so that they can feel like they know me a little bit more as this channel continues to grow and as I do more videos. So I thought, what better way than revealing something deep? Why not, right? So when I was thinking about this, it's like, well, what is something that I have hardly shared? And one would be that I used to be very insecure. And I think, you know, there are maybe many of people who have felt this way growing up, and especially, you know, maybe females. So I thought, is it really that big to reveal? But I feel like it just depends on each person's story and how they became insecure, right? So one thing that I just remember is being very young and being in grade school and being very different than a lot of people, and thinking differently. I just remember being in elementary school and I still believed in imaginary friends and stuff. And so I had a lot of imaginary friends in kindergarten, in first grade, in second grade. And my mom, you know, was very supportive of the whole imaginary thing, but I think that she should have kind of cut it out for me at some point, because while it was cool to have imaginary friends and play with them at home, it probably wasn't good to do in school where there are tons of people you can play with. But I kind of chose my imaginary friends. So that was one thing. I just remember being very young and being kind of bullied because of that. And then also because I was just different. My personality was different. The things that I wanted to do was very different from people around me. I just remember even being at home and being we had a neighborhood where there were a good bit of kids in our neighborhood, and I remember my brother used to have to beg me to go outside and, you know, ride our bikes or ride our scooters or something like that with the other kids, because I would rather stay at home and write in my journal or diary or read books. That was a big thing of mine. And I think that while that may be oh, okay, that's or whatever, but for a elementary school or middle school student, that was kind of why not? You don't want to go outside and play around with everyone else and, you know, be involved in that way. So that was one thing. And the reason why I feel like that also played a big role in the insecure thing is because I became very insecure as I got older and realized that, you know, people judged you because of that, and or judged me because of that, and also picked at me because of that, and it would really bring me down. And I know in high school I used to try to hide in many of ways. Like, I was very involved. I was a cheerleader, and I won beauty pageants, and I was like student body president, things like that. Like, I was out there and I did things, but like I kind of held back on like the weirdness, and I wouldn't let that show a lot unless you were like my family or like my very close best friends and stuff. And so, I feel like, that kind of, that was a weird time. But then when I went to college, I realized that there were a lot of people who are weird, especially in my communications classes. There were so many people with different ideas and just so much creativity. And I realized that, like, I'm not the only one who thinks differently or, has a personality that's very different or have interest and makes decisions that a lot of people probably wouldn't dare to do. And so I became a lot more accepting of myself because I saw that others were accepting of other people who were different. So I was very insecure. I've worked very hard on that, and I feel like it's hard to really share with the world and definitely be in different types of line of work and be very insecure. I mean, definitely you can do it. I believe people do it each and every day, but it's so much easier. You take the pressure off of yourself when you're just like, hey, this is me and this is who I am. Because obviously we weren't born to be in a world and, fit in. We weren't born into these square spaces where we fit into. We were born to stand out. Like, what's that quote? Like, why fit in when you were born to stand out? So yeah. I was riding down the road the other day. You know how you're driving in your car, and another weird thing is like, I listen to music sometimes, but majority of the time if I'm driving down the road, I have nothing on, which I feel like maybe more people do that, but I feel like it's like the norm to have something playing. But a lot of times I just don't have anything playing. I'm just kind of like thinking inside, thinking about random things. And one thing I was thinking about is like, I've been out of college since 2015. It is now 2020. That is crazy. That blows my mind. I cannot believe that. And so I thought, like, I was just thinking on like the journey and how life is so different after college and like just the whole journey of everything. And I thought, like, this will be a great video to tell people about what to expect after college, and or not even necessarily what to expect after college, but maybe some advice that I wish I'd had. And now I look back and I'm like, yeah, had I known this, things would have been a little bit better. But I love my journey and I'm so thankful for everything I went through. But if I can help someone else, why not? So number one, I would say is don't forget to live in the moment. Do not forget to live in the moment. I mean, I think that when you're out of college, the thought is like, okay, I need to find a job. I need to earn money. I need to pay bills. I need to be an adult. I need to do all these things, accomplish my dreams, accomplish the goals that I have for myself. And, obviously there's a work method. There's that you have to go through the process of finding those jobs, applying for them, going on interviews, and if you do get the job, performing at a good level. And so all of those things are there, and it's important. But at the same time, live life, because one thing that I look back at the years that it took me to get to my goals, and I'm still trying to reach other goals. It's like I had so much fun then. Like there's so many memories that that I have, and there's so many other moments that I wish I'd enjoyed more than I did. And the thing about it is that we take all these memories, but we can't relive that time. So so take as many pictures as you can, laugh as much as you can, enjoy the moment, and as you work towards those dreams. Number two, don't create a habit of stress and anxiety. I think that everyone's journey is different. You know, for a lot of people, there'll be a tons of yeses right after college. You'll get a yes on this, you get a yes on that. Yes, we give you the job. Yes, you get this pay. Yes, you get this, you get that. And for a lot of other people, there'll be a mixture of yeses and nos. And for some other people, it'll be a bunch of nos. So I think that it can be easy to have this stressful energy, to be full of anxiety, and just take a minute and relax, you know. And I wish I had have done that. Like I remember being in Colombia. I remember living in Colombia. Sorry, my phone just started vibrating. But I remember living in Colombia, and I was working part-time at a station there, and then I was also working part-time at a Ulta. I was working part-time at Ulta. And so I was working from like 3 a.m. until noon at the news station, right? And then I would get off and I would go home and sleep for a couple hours. And then I would go to Ulta at 4 p.m. and work until about 9 or 9:30 p.m. Then I'd go back and sleep for a couple of hours. And then I would go back to the news station at 2 a.m. So I was like, that was a constant thing, Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays and Sundays I had to myself. But like, there was a lot of stress because in the mix of that, I was also trying to create a newsreel. You can look that up if you don't know what that is, a newsreel. And I was trying to get more experience, and I was trying to become a reporter, apply for jobs, all of these things. And it was very much draining in many of ways, and I stressed out, and I had so much worry and so much anxiety. And look at me now. I achieved the things that I wanted to work for, or what I worked towards. And half of the stress and anxiety that I had, completely pointless, because you can't change anything. Like it's like, why stress and worry over a decision or, a job acceptance, which, is up to the employer, or, like it's like you give your best and do your best, but then after that, that's all you can do. You know what I mean? And I think that had I just had some calming, motivational words in there, and some comfort telling me like, hey, stop, do not panic, don't worry, don't have all this anxiety, enjoy where you are, live in the moment type of thing, would have been less stressful for me. The third advice is to never settle. It's easy to, once we get to what we've been working for, to be like, okay, this is it, I'm done, whatever. Don't settle, because what you think is the end all be all, or the absolute, like, this is the dream, it's accomplished, that's it. Continue to work, continue to develop yourself. Ask yourself, are there other dreams? Is there something bigger? Is this what you thought it would be? Do you want something else? Do you aspire to do other things? And keep it going. Sometimes it can be very complacent, because it's just, we've become just used to where we are. And I think that it's important to give yourself an extra push, especially when you are going through the same motions. Ask yourself, is there another goal out there that I hope to reach? Because we can set a bar for ourselves that is very low. It may seem very high, and that goal may be awesome, but it could be very low to what we are able to give and able to do. So yeah. So don't settle, keep pushing, keep aspiring for more, and live your best life. It's still raining outside, you guys.